Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to one of the best games of this year, an ultimate deciding factor in absolutely nothing. This game was thrilling, to say the least. I seriously was just stunned when I saw the final score of this game. I mean, I didn't really care about this. I didn't have fantasy players in this. I don't care about either of these teams. This game meant nothing to me. And still, when I saw the final score, all my attention was focused on this game. And I mean, that's one way to attract a crowd. I mean, you could put up a phenomenal game where your quarterback throws 500 plus yards in a 51-44 shootout or something like that. Or you can have a final score of 3-0 and get everybody to laugh at you. That's one way to get attention. Probably not the way you like it, but that's what happened here. This game was a shit show. I watched the highlights back, and I didn't even really get to finish it. I just skipped forward until I found the field goal. This game was all defense. Both the teams pretty much kept turning the ball over. And this actually goes to the Raiders mainly. They would drive, they'd get a big play, and then they'd turn it over right when they were about to score. I mean, really, Minnesota could have won this game by more. They had a missed field goal early on in the game, so I mean they could have won it 6-0. The Raiders definitely could have won this game, like by scoring 17 or something like that, if they would have just punched it in. I mean, if they would have just stopped turning the ball over, stopped getting sacked, penalties weren't a major factor in this game, but there was a total combined 9 sacks by both teams, 5 by Minnesota, 4 by Las Vegas. I mean, it was just a defensive standoff, and this was Justin Jefferson's returning game, and he gets injured instantly. And there was one major thing that would just pretty much sum up this game entirely was the amount of punts. I think when I counted, I got 17. Even if that number's not right, it's either like 16 or 18. That's still a shitload of punts. And if it wasn't a punt, it was a missed field goal, fumble, field goal, or interception. And keep in mind, I said field goal, not field goals. Field goal, the final score of this game, 3-0. Las Vegas's offense is hideous, horrendous, and icky. 8 first downs. Third down efficiency, they were 3 for 14. 2 of their 8 first downs came on fourth down conversions. Somehow they had 202 total yards, probably because of that Hunter Renfrow big play added on a lot of yards there. But, yeah, 8 first downs in 4 quarters is really bad. Vikings, on the other hand, the Vikings really should have scored more points. 16 first downs, 8 for 20 on third down efficiency is not good. 1 for 1 on fourth down efficiency, but at least they got 16 first downs. They had 1 first down as well from penalties. They only had 30 more yards of offense, although, like I said, there was one play that skewed the Raiders' yards. The Vikings should have done more. They should have done more. But they didn't. There were no special teams. I really just, I don't understand what happened. I think Josh Dobbs left the game towards the end, and the backup actually led a go-ahead field goal drive. But really, I just had to point this game out. I mean, this was awful, and now I am preying on the Vikings' downfall. I think the Raiders are pretty much done. They're 5-8. I don't think they're at the bottom of their conference under the Chargers. There's no way they make the playoffs. Absolutely no way they make the playoffs. We all know that. We're all aware of that. But the Vikings, on the other hand, they're playing in a pretty crappy conference, to say the least. The Lions keep losing. They're showing their true colors. They can't get that 10-win marker. And, I mean, really, they have kind of scraped by a lot of this year, beating the Chiefs by a point, beating the Bucks, where the Lions' defense actually looked good, beating the Raiders by 12, beating the Chargers by 3, beating the Bears by 5, and beating the Saints by 5. And it's finally starting to catch up to him. I mean, obviously, we watched the Ravens game. They got killed. And most recently, they lost the Packers and then the Bears. So right now, what we're all praying for after what this performance was is that the Vikings start losing games. Because if the Vikings make it to the playoffs, they're just going to stink it up. And, I mean, they've been playing like this for a while now. Last week against the Bears won 12-10. I think that was last week. If not, it was a week before. But 12-10 is still terrible. 21-20 loss against the Broncos. I mean, that's respectable. There's points there, but it's still kind of on the lower scoring end of things. But nothing to complain about. There was action. But clearly this Vikings team doesn't have offense. They've got a decent defense, but they just don't have offense. I do not want to see this team in the playoffs at all. And right now, I think they sit at the top of their the Lions sit at the top. But the Lions, I predict, are going to fall off. So we really need right now, I'd say, the Packers to start playing or keep playing at the rate they're playing at. Otherwise, you could see a playoff game being a final score of 7-9 or some dog shit. Just wanted to point this one out because it's funny. That's it. There's nothing special about this. It's just funny, embarrassing, pathetic, and interesting. Because not often do you see a final score of 3-0. Would have been funnier if it was 2-0 if they managed to do that somehow. But that's pretty much all I had for this. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. And that's all for me. Adios.